Yes. So I'll do a random live, you know, really random today. Just got a few drinks in. Shout out to the woman who bought me this as well. You know, this proper 12 whiskey, Conor McGregor. Shout out to the woman who bought me this. I used to call her a reject, but it's a bit disrespectful, innit? You know, calling somebody a reject, you know, he's buying me all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just a random live. I didn't prepare it, I didn't plan it, so it'll probably fuck up. You know, like the last live that I did. You know, the last live that I did, I pulled a wire out by accident. And it like cut the live short, you know, because I was really drunk and high and fucked up. So, yeah. Del Boy, Derek Chisora got robbed. Yeah, I just watched the interview with Dillian White, you know, and he was kind of like talking about how Chisora got robbed. You know, Chisora, he went up to Eddie Hearn afterwards, didn't he? You know, after his fight with Joseph Parker, and he said, "Are you going to make the rematch?" But who wants to see that? I don't want to see that at all. It was fucking boring, wasn't it? So uninteresting. Like, I don't want to sound negative, but I've just had enough of Chisora, you know. I was sick of him. I just can't be doing with him. He does these little gimmicks, you know, before his fights, you know, where he like says, "Oh, I'm not coming to the ring first." You know what I mean? Kicking off, you know, trying to generate more pay-per-view sales. You know, and there was a bit of drama, wasn't there? You know, about Chisora saying he's not going to fight, you know, if he can't come to the ring second. You know, and then he rang his mum. And his mum said to him, "Don't worry about it, just go to the ring first. You know, you've trained hard, just go to the ring first." And he fucking went to the ring first. And it was a bit cringe, man. He just tries to like create drama, don't he, Chisora? Remember when he told Coogan to get out of his hotel room, and fucking Coogan ran out of his hotel room, and then they had a little selfie together, you know, the next day. So it was fake, wasn't it? It's just a little publicity stunt, man, but yeah, I can't be doing with him. So the rematch is not really appealing. It's not really interesting. It's not something I look forward to seeing, unless it's like on an undercard of like Joshua Fury. Then I don't really give a fuck. You know, it wasn't worth 20 quid, was it? I streamed it, you know, on some little illegal stream. And like, I said I wasn't going to do that again. Because like, you know, when I watched Liam Williams Andrade on a illegal stream, adverts kept popping up and it kept freezing. So I was getting really annoyed. I missed the knockdown, you know, when Liam Williams got knocked down. And it fucking irritated me. So I thought the next time there's a boxing event that I want to see, I'm going to pay for it. But, you know, this Chisora against fucking Joseph Parker, it was just garbage, wasn't it? You know, Joseph Parker, he's a bit boring as well, isn't he? You know, the only time I've been interested in Joseph Parker was when that story came up, you know, about him being a drug dealer. Did you see that? He was supposed to be some kind of drug dealer, you know, some kind of fucking drug cartel, you know, like Daniel Kinahan. He was supposed to be something like that, you know, in Australia or New Zealand, wherever he's from. So that's the only fucking interesting thing about Joseph Parker, innit? But other than that, he's just fucking boring as fuck. So I don't want to see the rematch. I don't want to see it at all. Dillian White said Chisora got robbed, but you know, that punch was on the back of the head, you know, that knockdown. So it's not a genuine knockdown, is it? Yeah, shout out to David Harrison for the £10. Coogan's at it again in the matchroom bubble, running around with the matchroom tarts. Yeah, pussy and views, man. That's what he's about, isn't he? He's posting photos on his Instagram, Coogan. You know, of him with his baby mama and his little fucking kid. He's trying to act all family orientated, but he'll get bored. He'll move on. He'll probably bang one of those women, you know, in the matchroom bubble. What's that woman called? Bella or something like that. She's quite nice, so he probably fucked her. He's trying to act like a nice, friendly family man, but it's not gonna last. It's not gonna last at all. Shout out to Jordan Jefferson for the £5. Big fan of the videos, Ty. Here's £5 for a bottle of Echo 4s or a pair of plimsolls from Primark. How do you know I wear plimsolls from Primark? I do, yeah. Have we met before? I buy like £3 shoes because, like, you know, spending a load of money on fancy trainers, it's just a waste of money. You know what I've started doing to make money alongside these videos? I've started investing in, you know, cryptocurrency. Like, not really many people have heard of it, but it's a good money making thing. I spent about £6,000 on a cryptocurrency last month, and I've already made about £3,000 profit, you know, in 4 weeks. So, like, you know the Black Critter, he got interviewed the other day, didn't he, by Coogan, and he said, like, he's starting to get a bit smart, you know, financially, because he said a few years ago he got with this fucking dirty gold digging slag, this gold digging woman, you know, and he like took her on holiday. He like paid for her to go on holiday, and they had a little argument. So he like paid for her to go back home, and then he paid for another woman to come out to see him. So the Black Critter, he spent a load of money on women, you know, like transporting them from one country to the next. But he said he's like wisened up, you know what I mean? And he said he's invested in properties and like cryptocurrency, and that's what I've been doing. I bought about £6,000 worth of cryptocurrency about 4 weeks ago, and it's already made like a £3,000 profit, you know, in just 4 weeks. So £3,000 profit, yeah. My first boxing match, I got paid £600. My second fight, I got paid £800. So that's £1,400 for my first 2 fights. The one after that, yeah, I got about £1,000. So my first 3 fights, I've made more from like investing, you know, in cryptocurrency than I did from boxing. So, yeah, I wear Primark shoes. That makes sense buying like £200 shoes, you know what I mean? Just fucking invest it wisely. You need to do a crypto vid. Yeah, you're right, you know. You're right, and I've been thinking about doing a video about, like, you know, investments. Because it's weird, man, it's so weird. You know, the returns. Like I say, £3,000 in a month. It's a nice amount, isn't it? £200 shoes make you win. What do you mean by that? What do you mean they make you win? Win what? They make you win what? That's what I mean. You know, if you buy a fancy car, you might get a load of pussy, you know, from driving around and like women looking at your car and getting all excited. But just say if you buy like a £30,000 car, do you know how much sex you can pay for that? You know how much sex you can get from that £30,000? So you fucking stupid if you buy cars like, you know, expensive ones. I bought a car for £500. What's your opinion on racism? Racism. I don't know. What do you mean by racism? People were saying Tyson Fury's racist. You know, when he was singing that Biggie Smalls song. If you don't know now, you know, nigger. He was having a little family party, wasn't he? A little gypsy party. And Tyson Fury was like playing that Biggie Smalls song. If you don't know now, you know, nigger. And Tyson was like singing it, you know, enjoying himself, and fucking, he ended up in the Sun newspapers, you know, and they were saying he's racist. So it depends what you mean by racist, innit? People were saying Dillian White's racist, you know, for calling Tyson Fury the Gypsy King, the Gypsy Coward. People were saying Dillian's being racist, you know, because he called him the Gypsy Coward. So when you talk about racism, I don't know. I'm not affected by it. It don't fucking bother me. It don't really get to me. I think it's because I've spent about 10 years, you know, in a gym where it's just full of different races. You know, the Ingle gym. Johnny Nelson's black. Kell Brook's mixed race. Kid Galahad is an Arab. You know, Nassim Hamed was from Yemen. Brendan Ingle was from Ireland, you know, Dublin. So I've been around people like that for 10 years. So racism, I don't know, it don't really bother me. If you beat Marcus Morrison, what the fuck? Why aren't you still boxing? But what does that mean? What, because I beat Marcus Morrison, that means that I can fucking become big time in boxing because I beat him? He got smacked up by Eubank, didn't he? He got smacked up. And he had about 3 months notice, and Sky Sports after the fight, they didn't even interview him, did they? They just said, fuck off. Just get out of here. You know, you've lost to fucking Tyanbooth, who was a little nobody. You lost to Eubank. You lost to Jason Wellborn, who I beat as well. You lost to a journeyman. So just fuck off and get out. You're not having an interview. And they didn't interview him, did they, Sky Sports? Even though sometimes they interview the losers. They didn't bother with him, did they? You know, he's not on the scene anymore. He had a chance. What's everyone up to? Who do you think, Billy Joe Saunders or Canelo? What do you think? You think Billy Joe will get robbed? He'll get robbed, won't he? You know, Dillian White, he just said in an interview with Coogan that he's backing the Brit Billy Joe Saunders against Canelo, but I don't know what that means. What do you mean you're backing the Brit? Like, what do you mean, like, you're backing the Brit? Does that mean that you're supporting the Brit? Which is understandable, innit? If you're supporting the Brit and you're saying, come on, good luck, you know, I wish you all the best, then yeah, I understand that. But you know, if you're saying, just say if Coogan interviewed like Dillian White, and Dillian White said, I think Billy Joe Saunders is going to win, even though he doesn't, deep inside, he doesn't think he's going to win. You know, to say that he thinks Billy Joe Saunders is going to win, it's not being genuine, is it? So I don't really know what backing the Brit means. What do you mean you're backing them? You mean you're supporting them? Or you're just saying that they're going to win just because they happen to live in the same country as you? I'm not into all that shit. That don't mean anything to me. I said it before in my last video. Just because somebody happens to live within a certain distance of me, that doesn't mean that I want them to win the fight against an American who lives a lot further away than me. Because the guy who lives in the same country as me, he might not have trained as hard. He might be a fucking scumbag. You know what I mean? So what? You're saying I should back him, even though he hasn't trained as hard as the American, and he's a fucking wanker. I should support him just because he happens to live within a certain distance of me. You know, I'm not into all that shit. I want Billy Joe Saunders to beat Canelo. That's because he's done things for me personally. You know, like give me £20. You give me £20. You know what I mean? So that's a nice amount of money, innit? Sorry, I just missed somebody's super chat, you know. Sorry about that. I was on a bit of a rant, you know, talking about how you shouldn't necessarily just favour somebody and back them and support them just because they live on the same island as you. Like, I've got an uncle, yeah. People talk about family, and yeah, family. It's all about family. I've got a fucking uncle, yeah, who got 10 years in prison a few weeks ago, you know, for having sex with his underage daughter. So should I say, yeah, he's family, yeah, he's family, I like him, yeah, good luck in prison. You know, I fucking wish you all the best in prison because you're my uncle, even though you fucking banged your underage daughter. So when you talk about he's from Britain and I'm from Britain, so I wish him all the best. Come on, man. Fucking silly talking. It's fucking dumb, innit? It's fucking dumb. I'm not even talking about Dillian. I'm just talking in general, innit? I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I want the British fighter to win because he's from Britain and I'm from Britain. It's fucking stupid, innit? Shout out to Sal Hanston for the £5 super chat. Eddie Hearn's already dropped the judges a brown envelope full of money. Billy Joe should empty the tank like Tondi. He's not winning on points. Be safe. Yeah. Eddie Hearn, he's bribing the judges, man. He's signed with DAZN, you know, and Canelo's their golden boy. So he wants Canelo to fuck up Billy Joe Saunders. There's no doubt about it. Shout out to G-Man Boxing for the £10.99. Big up Ty. Michelle Hall Phelps said when she met you, you and her were pally. Get in there, lad. Yeah, she interviewed Billy Joe Saunders and she said, yeah, when I bumped into him, he told me that he's a really big fan of mine. You know what I mean? She said I was a big fucking fan of hers. Like, again, a fan of what? A fan of what? Like, fucking a pussy. Her tits, her arse. Yeah, I am a fan of hers. Sexually. She got like a big jaw as well, so she's probably good at fucking blowjobs and that. So yeah, like sexually, I probably am a fan of hers. Like, you know, when me and her did a face-off and Billy Joe Saunders was in the middle. Billy Joe Saunders said to me at the end, would you have sex with Michelle Joy Phelps? And I said no. Because I didn't want her to get arrogant, you know, and get all cocky and think, yeah, I'm really nice, yeah, you want to have sex with me, don't you? I'm really stunning. So I said, no, I wouldn't have sex with her, nah, she's not for me. She's not for me at all. I wouldn't have sex with her, but I would. So I'm a fan of her sexually. But as far as her interviews go, I'm not really bothered. She's not really all that. She don't ask any interesting questions, you know what I mean? Hall Phelps. Michelle Hall Phelps, she said that she's going on a girly holiday, you know, to Ibiza. Because it's her birthday, so she's going on a little girly holiday, you know, to Ibiza. So, you know what, I feel like turning up, you know, to that holiday. I feel like just turning up, you know, and trying to ruin her holiday. You know, saying to her, you're Michelle Hall Phelps, you're a whore, your interviews aren't that good. You know what I mean? It's tempting to just turn up and ruin a holiday, but it might be quite good, you know, if we're all drunk and that, it's smoking weed, snorting coke, just going all out. I might have a good time with it. I think I'd have good sex with Whore Phelps, you know, because we don't respect each other. So it'll be like really fucking disrespectful sex. I'd slap her up, you know, fucking bang her, spit on her, just. But some women like that. They fucking like being treated like scum, you know, in bed. It fucking turns them on. You know, if you're too nicey, they don't like it, some women. They like a man who's going to treat them like scum. So I think I'd fucking have good sex with Whore Phelps. You know, because we don't respect each other at all. Yeah, shout out to Marcus Hammond for the $5. How angry did Prince Patel make Krogan, saying posse and views all through the interview? You say that, but like Krogan, he didn't cut it out, did he? He didn't like cut the bit out, you know, when Prince Patel mentioned me. So I don't know if he was that bothered, because otherwise he would have cut it out, wouldn't he? If he was trying really hard to deny me that exposure, he would have cut it out. You know what I mean? But he didn't, did he? He left it in. Same with Whore Phelps when she was talking to Billy Joe Saunders and he mentioned me. He was talking about the time when I smacked up Marcus Morrison. So yeah, I don't know. Women don't want nice. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, women say, oh, I want a bad boy. I want a bad boy. So if you're too nice and friendly in bed and you say to the woman, is it okay if I suck your breast? You know, it's not appealing. It's not a turn on. It's they don't like it. If you act too fucking nicey, you'll fucking put them off. So, you know, me and Whore Phelps, I think she'd really enjoy it because I'd spit on her, I'd slap her up, I'd fucking strangle the bitch, I'd go all out on her to upset her, choke her, just give her a little jab, just fuck her up, but she might like it. Shout out to Big Bosh for the £2. If you keep talking jive, Michelle Whore Phelps will cut it to 5. Yeah, man. Jive. Who said that? Ali. That's what Ali used to say, didn't he? If he keeps talking jive, I'll cut it to 5. He was a bit of a shit poet, wasn't he? Ali. His poetry wasn't that good, was it? If he keeps talking jive, I'll cut it to 5. It's not really that fucking interesting or poetic or funny. It's like Joshua, isn't it? You know, when he beat Ruiz in the rematch and he became a 2-time world champ, and he said, it was so nice, I had to do it twice. Come on, man. Fucking hell, that's shit in it from Joshua. Joshua tries to be like Ali, you know, trying to be a poet, boy. It don't work, does it? Yeah, shout out to Ken Brick for the £5. What do you think of Derek Chisora when he threatened to pull out of the fight for losing a coin toss? Yeah. It was a bit cringe. It was a bit cringe, man. You know what I mean? He threatened to pull out, you know, and then he fucking rang his mum and said, what shall I do? And his mum said, don't worry about it. Just go to the ring first. And then Chisora was like, okay, I'll go to the ring first. You know what I mean? You know, ringing his mum. It was a bit cringe, man. It was a bit corny. So, I don't know. I want a fan of the fight beforehand anyway. I don't know. I'm not really interested in Chisora, you know. He's talking about a rematch, but no one cares, man. No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck, man. Do you think Eubank Jr. has improved, you know, having Roy Jones in his corner? I don't think he's improved. Yeah, I ain't seen anything new from him. Like, I ain't seen anything like brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, what's he done? What did he do? If anything, he's kind of lost it. I remember. This is my piss bottle, by the way. I need a piss. But I remember Eddie Earn saying in an interview, you know, that Eubank in his interviews, he looks a bit like. He looks a bit more laid back. He looks a bit like he's lost that spite. You know, that killer instinct that he had. And you kind of seen that in the fight with Morrison, you know what I mean? Morrison bruised him up. And Morrison's a load of shit, he's fucking garbage. I'm just having a piss here. Yeah, get some questions in. What's everyone up to? I missed a super chat while I was pissing. Hold on a minute. Yeah, just a random live today. See how everyone's getting on. I don't really do these lives for money, you know, but thanks for donating. I started investing in cryptocurrency and I made about $3,000, you know, in about 4 weeks. So, but thanks for donating. It's because of you people that I was able to like fucking invest in the first place, you know, in crypto and make $3,000 in about 4 weeks. Right, let's have a look at these super chats. Will Peck. What's happening, Willard Peck? Thanks for the £10 super chat. Do you think the JD Sports wanker is ducking Tyson Fury? Oh, you mean Joshua, yeah? I don't know, it's just getting boring. I've pretty much switched off from it now, to be honest. I've kind of lost interest, you know what I mean? Just like, tell me when the fight's about to start, you know, tell me when they're on their way to the ring, 'cause it's getting really boring and that. Just... yeah. Hadn't you wash your hands after you had a piss, Tyan? No, I didn't really touch my dick. I just kind of like... I don't want to talk about my dick, you know, in a fucking life full of men. It's a bit gay, innit? But I didn't touch my dick. I just put my dick like in the bottle hole and pissed and then just fucking pulled my trousers up afterwards. I ain't got time to run to the toilet. Cesaro got fucked with no Vaseline once more. I know, just like I say, I streamed it, you know, on an illegal stream, and the fight was garbage. You know, he's crying out for a rematch, but we don't give a fuck. We don't care, man. We're not bothered. Shout out to Alexander D for their £10. The guy you ignored who donates in SEK. He can't help it as he's foreign. Overall, he's give you more than anyone else. Will you just give him the shout out he craves and stop ignoring him? He's your #1 fan. Who is he? I had a piss. I don't know who sent me the super chat. Who was it? I don't know what he sent. I just remember a guy sending me like £50 in like Sri Lankan money, and it worked out like £3.99. So I started having a go at him, but he's still giving me £3.99, innit? Why am I dissing him for giving me like £3.99? It's still money, innit? So yeah, man, shout out to that fucking guy, and shout out to the other guy whose super chat I missed. Billy Joe Saunders has pulled out of his fight with Canelo. Yeah, I don't believe that. It's fake news, innit? I was watching this live one time, this YouTube live, and somebody kept commenting saying, R.I.P. Joe Rogan. And like, you know, the first time I seen it, I started to get a bit worried, you know, because I like Joe Rogan. I ain't really been watching his videos, you know, since he moved over to Spotify, but I still like him. So when someone said R.I.P. Joe Rogan, I started to panic and I looked on Google and it was fake news. So you know that guy there who said that R.I.P. Joe Rogan, you know, he's just trying to get attention, isn't he? Same with that other guy who said Billy Joe Saunders has pulled out. He's just trying to get fucking attention, innit? It's fake news, man. Just stop trying to get attention. Just calm down and just... Why say that? Like... Yeah, shout out to Sogjit Singh for the £5. Ebony Bridges is still in the UK. Are you going to meet her? Yeah, that's quite interesting, you know. You know Ebony Bridges, you know, when she was doing like a little tour, you know, of England. And she came to Sheffield. She went to a few different cities and she started messaging me, you know, on Instagram, you know, direct messages. And she was like talking about her tits. That's a true story. She started messaging me about her tits and she was like, yeah. Because she's a fan of Leeds United football team, isn't she? So she was like, yeah, I went to Leeds United football ground and they said, get your tits out and you only got into this arena because you've got big tits. And she just kept going on about her tits. And I was thinking, is she trying to turn me on here or what? Because she was talking about her tits like consistently, and I was thinking, is she fucking trying to turn me on here or what? Is she trying to get me to invite her around? Yeah, she's quite nice, isn't she? But I didn't... You know what I mean? I don't really try hard with women, to be honest with you. I've never chatted up a woman, you know. Never. I've never, ever chatted up a woman. Every single woman I fucked, they've like made a move on me. Like, I don't like rejection. You know what I mean? You know Eddie Earn? Kell Brook, he had a fight in Sheffield one time. And Kell Brook, he had a press conference, you know, in Sheffield. So all the names were there. Coogan, Eddie Earn, Kell Brook, you know, all the names, Johnny Nelson. And like, I was stood somewhere at the press conference. This was after the press conference. I was stood next to someone called Lee Wood, who was a British and Commonwealth champ, who was also from Nottingham. And like, Eddie Earn came over and he shook my hand. And then he shook Lee Wood's hand. And Eddie Earn was like looking at me, smiling, and he said, why didn't you ask Coogan for an interview? And I kind of got like stage fright, you know, and Eddie Earn started talking to me. I kind of froze. I fucking like pussied out. I like froze. It's like I had a panic attack. And I still remember it to this day. It was about 5 years ago, and like Eddie Earn, he came up to me and shook my hand and started talking to me, and I had like a fucking panic attack. Like, it was so embarrassing. He was like looking at me, smiling, saying, why didn't you ask Coogan for an interview? And I froze and I couldn't speak, and I was thinking to myself, fucking speak, man. You know what I mean? Fucking speak. And I couldn't speak. I had like a fucking, it's like I was starstruck, and I froze like a little bitch, and it was so embarrassing. It was about 5 years ago, and I still remember it. And I want to see Eddie Earn now and like say to him, sorry about that. You know, I fucking embarrassed myself. So let's have a little chat for 5 minutes, because I've composed myself now. You know what I mean? But he said to me, why didn't you ask Coogan for an interview? But I didn't ask Coogan for an interview because I don't want to fucking beg him. I don't want him to think, yeah, you need me, don't you? You really want me, yeah. You know what I mean? Fucking Coogan. I'm not going to ask him for an interview at all, you know what I mean? Coogan rang me. No, he messaged me on Instagram about 2 weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, give me your phone number. I want to have a little chat with you. But I didn't give it him. I didn't give him my new number because I don't want him to be messaging me and like ringing me and saying, "Oh, can you stop talking about me and stop having a go at me, and can you stop talking about me fucking all these women because it's upsetting my baby mama and she's getting annoyed and she's gonna fucking stop me from seeing my kid and all this shit." I didn't want to hear all that shit on the phone. I didn't want to hear it, man. So I didn't give him my new number. I fucked him off, but how do I earn dough on the cryptocurrency, bro? Talk to me, fam. I might set up another channel, you know, and I'm not trying to make out like I'm some big time rich fucking Money Mayweather type. I'm just saying, like, I made like £3,000, you know, in about 4 weeks. So that's like £750 a week, innit? So that's a nice amount, innit? Coogan's getting £500 a week from Eddie Earn, so I made more than him. I made £750 a week over the past 4 weeks. You know, then Coogan got from Eddie Earn. So I'd like to try and set up another channel, you know, talking about money and that. I'm not saying I'm some financial advisor, but that's what I mean. £750 a week is nice. It is, innit? Plus I got back the money that I fucking put in. Where's the ganja at, bro? You know, before I did this live, I was driving around for about 20 minutes, you know, asking people if they've got any weed. You know, asking them if they know anybody who sells weed. And I couldn't really find anybody. So I just thought, fuck it, I'll just stick to the Echo Falls, you know, and the proper 12 whiskey. Shout out to the woman that I used to call a reject for buying me that bottle. Thanks for that. Shout out to Zafir for the £5. Can you give a shout out to my first... Sorry, it's going too fast. Can you give a shout out to my firstborn, Amelia? Big fan of you and your channel. Are you a knob in real life or just on YouTube? You see what I mean? This is what I mean about some people, yeah. They send me like money, you know, and they fucking try and act all friendly. And then I read out the message and they start talking a load of shit. You know, like that fucking guy there who gave me £5 and then he's fucking acting all nice and friendly, you know, at the start. And then he says, are you really a knob? Or are you just a knob on YouTube? You know what I mean? He fucking set me up, didn't he? That fucking cunt there. Take your fucking £5 back. You know what I mean? He was acting all friendly, wasn't he? But it was fake. It was fake niceness. You know, like Coogan. You know, when I put up a video on YouTube and Coogan messaged me saying, great vid. And you know, when he said that, I thought, what the fuck is he doing with that great vid talk? He's never ever messaged me saying great vid or giving me any kind of compliments about any of my videos. And I've done like over 50 videos and he's never ever complimented me on any of my videos saying great vid. But now he's messaging me out of the blue saying great vid. What's that all about? And then he fucking messaged me saying, can you stop putting photos of me and all these women because it's upsetting my girlfriend. You know what I mean? So you know all that great vid talk, it's fake niceness, innit? You know, like that fucking guy there giving me a £5, trying to act all nice and friendly, and then he's calling me a knob. Yeah, shout out to Tony Ferguson for the £5. You the man, bro. Yeah, man, Tony Ferguson. That's a UFC fighter, isn't it? What do you think of Tyson Fury calling Francis Ngannou a big ugly dosser and he's gonna beat him up in his next fight. Like, I don't know, like Tyson Fury, I like him, but he's a bit cringe sometimes, isn't he? He's a bit cringe, man. You know what I mean? You know, when he's like saying Conor McGregor's training him for a fight in the UFC, and then Conor McGregor said he's never spoke to Tyson Fury in his life. So that was a lie, wasn't it? So, you know, Tyson sometimes he's a bit cringe, isn't he? You know what I mean? He needs, I don't know, like, you know, Lennox Lewis. I don't know if you lot were fans of boxing when Lennox Lewis was boxing, but I was a big fan of Lennox. You know what I mean? He was like classy, wasn't he? Like really respectable, undisputed heavyweight champ. You know, he did his talking in the ring. So, you know, Tyson Fury calling Francis Ngannou a big ugly dosser and calling Joshua ugly as well. Joshua's good looking, isn't he? No homo. Joshua's quite attractive, isn't he? I don't like black women, but you know, some black men, they're quite good looking, aren't they? And Joshua's quite good looking, isn't he? So, you know, Tyson calling Joshua a fucking big ugly dosser. It's a bit silly, isn't it? Yeah, it's a bit daft. Yeah, shout out to Ahmed Bam for the £10. Thanks for that. Yeah, you know that Francis Ngannou, he's probably the best fighter in the world, isn't he? Like, it's weird, isn't it? Imagine being the best fighter in the world. You can go anywhere and just smack up anybody. You can go up to anybody and say, what the fuck are you looking at? Bam. And just smack them up. But obviously some people have got guns, haven't they? You know what I mean? You know, Daniel Kinnan, he's got quite a lot of guns, hasn't he? So it's not as simple as just saying, I'll fuck him up because I'm the best fighter in the world. Some people have got guns, haven't they? You know, Daniel Kinnan. What happened to his mental health campaign? Ooh, Tyson Fury. You know, on that side, he's done quite well because he came out and said that he has panic attacks. You know, a big 19 stone world champion, unbeaten gypsy boxer comes out and says that he has panic attacks. So like that would encourage little men to come out, you know, and speak about their problems instead of bottling it up. What was the biggest non-boxing related lesson Brendan Ingle ever taught you? That's a really good question, you know. Probably he taught us how to wank. Not physically, like he didn't like demonstrate to us how to wank. He just like said to us, like, you know, if there's a woman that you want to fuck, just wank, and it will take away your urge to fuck her. Because like obviously like wanking's not as good as fucking a real woman, is it? But you know, when you think about it, just say if I went out tonight, yeah, lockdown's over now, isn't it, pretty much? So the clubs are back open, the bars are open. You know, if I went to a bar now and just picked up a little slag and brought her back here and fucking banged her, you know, and got her pregnant, I'd have to give that dirty little slag child support, you know, for 18 years. You know, this money that I'm making from YouTube and fucking cryptocurrency, $3,000 in 4 weeks. You know, I'd have to pay a big chunk of it to this little slag just for fucking her for 10 minutes. So it's not worth it, is it? Like overall, you're paying like thousands and thousands of pounds to some little drunken slag just because you wanted to fuck her for 10 minutes. It's not worth it. It's not. So Brendan Ingle teaching us how to wank instead of fucking around with all these women. You know, DMX, he had 70 kids, didn't he? He had 17 kids, DMX, you know, and he had a heart attack and died. So it's understandable, isn't it? You know, if you're paying out all that child support to fucking 17 baby mamas, you're gonna be stressed. Your heart rate's gonna be up there, innit? It's gonna be fucking up there. So DMX, he died, innit, of a heart attack. So yeah, shout out to Brandon Ingle. R.I.P. DMX. Yeah, shout out to Gurge Woodest for the £5 super chat. Say Doz has bent legs. Yeah, Doz has bent legs. Was that worth paying £5 for though? Like, I don't think it was worth it. Doz has bent legs. Fucking hell. I fucking swallowed it too fast. I swallowed my Echo 4s too fast. Just fucking calm down, man. What's the rush? It's so nice, I was trying to do it twice. Remember Joshua when he fucking boxed Ruiz? I've already told this story, Anna. But yeah, I tried to force the Echo 4s down too quick and it fucking backfired, man. Yeah, fucking hell. It was so nice I had to do it twice. Joshua thinks he's such a good poet, don't he? He's not all that. DMX has 17 kids. That's the same amount as Coogan's changed his daughter's nappies. I know. That was a bit... You know, when Coogan fucking interviewed Cesaro and he was talking about changing his daughter's nappies, he started to really get excited, didn't he? And get all fucking hyped up and really pumped up. And, you know, like it's a big event. I don't know. I don't want to accuse him of anything, but it definitely needs looking into, don't it? Adam Smith. Yeah, what's everyone up to? AJ is easily the most boring heavyweight fighter ever. I'd say Joseph Parker, you know what I mean? He's not pay-per-view, he's fucking boring. You know, him being a drug lord. That was interesting, but nothing's really come of it, you know what I mean? Nothing's really come of it at all, so I don't know. How are we all doing? Everyone all good, yeah? Has Coogan's daughter got bent legs like him? I don't know, I had a look at a photo of her, you know. I had a look at a photo of her for about 10 minutes. I was like looking and thinking... I don't know. I don't want to start bullying her. It's a bit out of order, innit? I interviewed a prostitute. You know, about 5 years ago, I used to have this channel, this YouTube channel that got shut down by YouTube. I interviewed this prostitute, you know, in this prostitute area in Sheffield. And I gave her £15. And, you know, at the end of the interview, I said to her, is it okay if I put this interview on YouTube? And she was like, oh, you know what, I've got a son who's at school, so I don't really want him to know that, you know, I'm a prostitute, so I'd prefer if you didn't put it on YouTube. So I thought, oh, fucking hell, because the interview was really good as well. It was a really good interview, you know, with this prostitute in the red light district in Sheffield. It was a really good half an hour interview. But you know, when she said to me, do you mind not putting it up on YouTube? I thought, I might just put it up. You know, because I gave her 15 quid. So I thought I might put it up, but then like her son, you know, his little mate is at school, they might see the interview, you know, and think, oh, your mum's a hawker. And they might bully him, you know, and really fucking torture him. So I thought I didn't really want to be like responsible, you know, for her son getting bullied at school. So I didn't put the interview up. So I wasted like 15 quid. Did you get a blowjob offer? It was depressed. It was you know what? It's a bit of a sad story, man. It was a bit sad, you know, when she said her son doesn't know that she's giving blowjobs for a living. So I didn't put the video up. So I was tempted to ask for a blowjob, you know, in exchange, you know, for the money that I gave her, but I just thought, nah. Have you been in the gym with Liam Williams? Yeah, well, I boxed him a few years ago. I was in the gym with him probably a few months ago, and I like him. He got a big reception, you know, when he went back to Wales. You see all those people clapping for him, you know, after he boxed Andrade. He's like a hometown hero now, isn't he? Imagine what Joe Calzaghe got. Because he was like really fucking big time, wasn't he? Yeah, it was a draw. We had a clash of heads, me and Liam Williams, so it was like a technical draw or whatever. Shout out to G-Man Boxing for the £5.50. Tying. Adam Smith is a bit suspect, isn't he? I don't know where people are getting this from. Like, people say he locks kids in basements, but like, what evidence have you got? You know what I mean? Like, you know, Barry Hearn, he's supposed to be mates with Jeffrey Epstein, you know, that fucking pedo. And we seen Barry Hearn and his wife, you know, in Jeffrey Epstein's black book. You know, his list of contacts, his secret contacts. So I don't know if that's true though. You could Photoshop anything. I could Photoshop a Instagram message pretending it's from Mayweather. You know, saying, yeah, I really like your channel, TyFL TV. Yeah, keep up the videos. You know what I mean? I could make a little Photoshop Instagram message from Mayweather. You know, pretending Mayweather's a big fan of my videos. So I don't believe everything I read. So like that G-Man Boxing saying Adam Smith is a bit suspect. Like, why is he? I don't know. I have a go at him, it's just banter, innit? Does Adam Smith have kids locked in his basement? Again, we don't, like, what evidence have you got for this? It's an interesting story, innit? You know what I mean? Boxing's a bit boring, innit? You know, when you hear boxers talking about their training camps and how they want to thank their sponsors and all that shit, it's boring, innit? So anytime you hear a little story about like Adam Smith locking kids in basements, or fucking Coogan looking forward to changing his daughter's nappies, you know, for sexual reasons, and it's quite interesting, isn't it? Will Dubois ever achieve anything? I don't know. He kind of posted out, didn't he? You know, that Ebony Bridges, she had a swollen eye, but she kept going, didn't she? But I think like a swollen eye, like in the form of a bruise, it's different, innit, to having your orbital bone smashed up. Because I was listening to an interview of somebody, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Eddie Hearn. He was talking about Kell Brook. I think Kell Brook said to Eddie Hearn, like, when his orbital bone got smashed up by Golovkin, it felt like his eyeball was like dropping. You know what I mean? Imagine that. Imagine you're in a fight and you feel like your eyeball's like fucking sinking like that. just dropping down like. Fuck boxing. Boxing's nothing, man. Your eyesight's important, innit? You know, Gerald McLennan, he's blind as fuck, innit? What do you think of that? He's blind as fuck. I remember I got kicked off Twitter one time because, you know, Gerald McLennan, he's blind as fuck. He's retarded, isn't he? And his sister, Lisa McLennan, is like his full-time carer. And she was on Twitter, you know, trying to raise funds for Gerald McLennan. So I wrote a tweet saying, don't donate any money to this blind fucker. Donate money to animal welfare charities instead. You know, because Gerald McLennan used to get like little dogs and put sellotape around their mouths and put them in a cage, you know, with his pit bulls to see them get fucked up. So he likes animal cruelty, don't he, Gerald McLennan? So when his sister was trying to raise funds for him, I said, don't fucking donate any money to this blind fucker. Donate money to animal welfare charities instead. You know, and I got banned from Twitter for that. And his sister started messaging me saying, yo, man, you need to back the fuck up off Gerald McLennan, man. You know, talking in a fucking American accent. And when I think about it, it's not her fault, is it? Like, you know, if she gets money donated to her from people on Twitter, that will help her, you know, with the care. Because she wasn't cruel to animals, was she? It was Gerald McLennan. So why should she suffer? She's got to look after him every day of her life until he dies. You know, when you have kids, your kids, when they get to like 16, they become like independent, don't they? And they've got their own lives, so you don't have to look after them. But she's got to look after that fucking Gerald McLennan for the rest of his life until he dies. So she could do with a bit of help, you know, like a carer, you know, so she can have the odd night out and enjoy herself. So I shouldn't have said, don't fucking donate any money to this fucking blind fucker. Because it's not just for him, is it? It's for his sister as well. So it's... But yeah, fuck him anyway. I don't like him. I don't like animal cruelty. I want to see a rematch between Ben and Gerald McLennan. Yeah, Nigel Benn would fuck him up, wouldn't he? He would fuck him up. I don't know why this guy keeps fucking messaging saying Kid Gallard every single live. I've been doing lives for about 3 months. And you know, this guy just keeps commenting saying Kid Gallard. Like, what's your fucking point? Like, just say something, innit? What is the most... Oh, no, I missed it. Shout out to Lee Nichols for the £2. What's your best life advice? My best life advice... I don't know, just fucking... Probably wear a condom, innit? You know, Eazy-E, he had about 15 baby mamas and he died of AIDS, didn't he? So, you know what I mean? DMX, he had like 17 baby mamas and they were stressing him out and he had a heart attack and died. Yeah, man. Yeah, there's a few more questions and then I'm gonna wrap this shit up. It was a random live today, so don't expect anything brilliant from this. Shout out to G-Man Boxing for the £2.29. Did you give the £50 back to piss in the bottle, lad? Was it you who gave me the £50? I think it was G-Man Boxing. He said, pour that bottle of piss over you and I'll give you £50. So I said, give me the £50 and I'll do it. And they gave me the £50 and I didn't do it. And I'm glad I didn't do it because I don't want to lose my dignity. You know, Derek Chisora saying I'm not coming to the ring first, and then ringing his mom saying, shall I come to the ring first or not? Give me some advice. Come on, man, you're fucking 37 years old. Why are you ringing your mum for advice? You know what I mean? Come on, that was a bit cringe, wasn't it? So you don't want to lose your dignity, do you, like that? You know, Chisora ringing his mum saying, what shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? Come on, man. So, you know, me pouring piss over my head, it's not worth losing my dignity, even if it's £50. It's not worth it, is it? Shout out to Marks out of Zen for the £5. I could get a nosh for €5. Can you tug me off instead? That's what I mean, man. People give me money, you know, being all nice and friendly, and then they start acting like that, saying, can I tug him off? Rama Nathan. What do you think of Conor Benn and his last fight? Yeah, he looked quite good, didn't he? And he started calling out Sean Porter, and he said that he did better against... Who did he fight again? I can't remember. He boxed someone who Sean Porter beat, and I think Conor Benn looked more impressive. But the boxing don't work like that, does it? Like, you know, Ali struggled with Joe Frazier, didn't he? And George Foreman fucked up Joe Frazier. But then Ali beat up George Foreman. So George Foreman looked more impressive, you know, against Joe Frazier than Ali. But fucking Ali beat Foreman, didn't he? So boxing don't work like that. Shout out to Noble Light for the £2. Fucking missed that, you know. Hold on a sec. Are you paying for the Billy Joe Saunders fight? Definitely. 100% I'm paying for that. There's no way I was going to pay for Chisora against Parker. They're both fucking boring, aren't they? We don't need to worry about them guys, do we? Like I said, we've got Joshua Fury, Andy Ruiz, Dillian White, and Beyonce Wilder. So, Joseph Parker, Derek Chisora, we don't really need to worry about them. Fucking Lucas Brown. We don't need to worry about them guys, do we? We've got enough heavyweights of interest. The Ghost Knows Boxing, shout out for the £5. Did you watch the vid I made about Hor Phelps? How she got my video taken down? Yeah, I'm going to get back to that in a sec. Just one sec, yeah? Shout out to Carluccio for the £10. Lad, 100. Did you see the Gypsy Enforcer? John Fury get KO vids. I don't know what that means, you know. What do you mean by that? Let me read that again. Did you see the Gypsy John Fury get KO vids? No, I didn't see, you know, what happened? John Fury, did he get KO'd? He poked someone's eye out, didn't he? And fucking blinded him like Gerald McLennan. Hardcore, innit? Yeah, man, them Gypsy guys, they fucking... Yeah. Shout out to the Ghost Knows Boxing for the £5. Did you watch the vid I made about Hor Phelps? How she got my video taken down? Yeah, I don't think it's personal. Like, you know, when you've got a big YouTube channel, you go into this program called Content ID and you put all your videos in there. And like any video that someone else puts up of your video, it gets scanned by YouTube and they detect that it's already been put up by someone like Hor Phelps or Coogan. And YouTube will automatically delete the video. So don't think Hor Phelps has got like an agenda against you personally. I don't think she did it against you personally. All her videos are copyrighted. So if I tried to put up a video of Michelle Hall Phelps interviewing Billy Joe Saunders, you know, when they were talking about me, it would automatically get scanned, you know, on YouTube's automated scanning system, and it will get taken down. So don't take it personal, man. You know what I mean? Don't fucking take it personal. Right, I'm gonna have one more piss and then wrap it up. Get some good questions in here, yeah? Yeah, I'm enjoying this. Yeah, Oreo, man. Fuck you now. Cryptocurrency, man. Get involved. $3 in a month. Coogan gave me 200 quid. You know, for me running around for fucking 2 years interviewing fucking boxers for his channel. Him and James Helder. They gave me a little poxy 2 quid, you know, in 2 years. So, you know, to make $3 in 4 weeks, it's quite a good return, isn't it? Oh, this is fucking taking the piss, man. Stop. Just cut this piss short, man. Cut it short. I'll have to piss in my pants for a little bit. Right, last few questions and then I'm going to wrap it up. Best you've sparred. Did you spar Junior Witter? Is he any good? Yeah, Junior Witter's like the forgotten man in boxing. Like, no one really gives a fuck about him anymore. He was British, Commonwealth, European and world champion. You know what I mean? WBC. So he was quite good, but it's that whole thing in it. Like, Dave Allen's more known, and Dave Allen hasn't even won an area title in boxing. I've got more followers than Junior Witter, you know, and I'm a little boxing dosser, just talking a lot of shit on YouTube. So yeah, Junior Witter's forgotten. He's training fighters now, but he hasn't really produced anybody. That's what I mean about Roy Jones. Like, people talk about Roy Jones being a legend and all this, but that's as a boxer, innit? I can drive cars, but I don't know how to fix cars. So Roy Jones might be a good fucking boxer back in his day, but it don't mean that he's a good trainer. So Eubank, I don't think he's gonna do anything. He's about 31, you know, I don't know, I don't rate him. I don't give a fuck if he beat me. Like I say, I was a boxing dosser who stepped in at 4 days notice, so he should be beating me, shouldn't he? But he didn't really show anything against Morrison that was that special. Yeah, shout out to John Wieners for the £5. Jane Couch was the first one to interview people in boxing for YouTube. Do you think she was too ugly to make it big? Really good question, that. Yeah, she was ugly as fuck. She was really fucked up. Sex sells, don't it? Like Hall Phelps, she looks decent when she's all done up. I've sat really close to her, you know, when we did a head-to-head, and I seen the imperfections and all the stuff you don't see when you're watching her interviews. But on camera, she looks quite nice. Jane Couch, she's not nice. Coogan hides behind the camera, you know, because he looks a bit dodgy as well, don't he? So yeah, if Jane Couch was really attractive, she would have gone a lot further. But like I say, sex sells, man. Ellie Seckbach was the first YouTube boxing interviewer. Yeah, he was, yeah, that's what I mean. That's why these guys like Coogan and Hall Phelps, they try and act like they're like really fucking special, but they basically just copied off Ellie Seckbach. You know, that little Jew. So they're not pioneers, are they? They just seen a little market and they thought, yeah, let me jump on it. How is your uncle, Ty? Which one? The gay one or the one who had sex with his underage daughter who got 10 years in prison? Which one are you talking about? Jane Couch is an ex-fighter, yeah. Do you get access to media rooms at boxing events? No, I don't. I get banned. That fucking Anna Wallace with the blowjob signals told the security not to let me into a press conference. Dillian White Rivas, so... You know what I mean? Did Kell Brook touch you up in the showers? No, he didn't, you know. He kind of turned away like that. He kind of like turned like to the side like. He might have been trying to hide his fucking boner. He might have had a hard on, you know what I mean? But that's giving myself too much credit, innit? Like saying he'd get a hard on by looking at me naked. That's giving myself too much praise, innit? Is Kell Brook gay? I don't know. Got a wife, 3 kids, so I don't know. If he's gay, he's gay, innit? Like I just said to you, I've got 2 gay uncles, yeah. One of them's gay. The other one's not gay, but the one who's not gay fucked his underage daughter and got 10 years in prison. So which one would you prefer out of those 2? The gay one or the one who's fucking banging his daughter, who's underage, getting 10 years in prison? You're going to prefer the gay one, aren't you? So even if Kelly's gay or bisexual, it don't fucking matter, does it? You know, it's not for me, to be honest with you, but just let them do what they're doing. Shout out to Fidget Spinner for the £2. How weird will it feel watching Billy Joe Saunders fight Canelo? I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Like, normally when there's like a fight, like Joshua Polev, my eyes are normally on Joshua in it because he's like the main man. But you know, this fight between Billy Joe Canelo, I don't know who to look at, because you don't, like, who you looking at here? I don't know. You don't know who to look at, do you? You don't know like which one to keep your eye on, like which one to look at. But yeah, it's really interesting. This is what I mean about boxing. You know, we've got this whole Joshua Fury boring saga, this dragging on boring fucking shit. We've got Cesaro Parker, which was boring as fuck. I don't want to see the rematch. But then sometimes you do get like interesting bits in boxing, don't you? Saunders, Billy Joe Saunders against Canelo. Would you smash Eubank Jr.'s sister, Emily? Yeah. Never fucked a black woman, but why not? We'll give it a go, see how we get on. See how we get on. Are you mates with Dillian White? You know what, yeah, that Dillian's a cool guy, man. I like him. We have little chats, you know, on Instagram. He lives far away, don't he? But I'm going to go to London next week. You know, to Miguel's gym in South London. I don't think Dillian's going to be there. I think he'll be in Portugal. He seems to be in Portugal a lot, don't he? Dillian said that he hasn't seen his newborn son. You know what I mean? That's what he said when he was in camp for Povetkin. He said he hasn't seen his newborn son in about 4 months. Now he's in Portugal again, isn't he? So he's kind of just make them sacrifices. Make those sacrifices, you know, so your kid can just chill out when he gets a bit older. But yeah, I'm going to go to London next week. Now the lockdown's fucked off. I go to London, yeah. And I stay in this hostel. And this hostel that I stay in, it's like a big room. It's got like 10 bunk beds. You know, with like men and women in the bunk beds sharing the same bunk beds or the same room. And no one knows each other. So there was a woman below me, you know, in the bunk bed before, and I sniffed her knickers. Because her knickers, she was out, I think she was out partying. And she left her knickers on the bed, so I like sniffed them and fucking really enjoyed it. So I'm going to go back there next week. Chill out with Baby Ting. You know him, Dean White. Yeah, I'm going to probably chill out with Dean White. Baby Ting. Would be good to see Dillian, but I think he's in Portugal. He seems to be really attached to Portugal, don't he? And like, you know that hostel that I stay in? You know the showers? These like different showers, different cubicles. And I was in the shower one time. It's like for men and women. It's like unisex. And I was in the shower one time, and like the cubicle next door, I heard two women come in. And like there was a woman in the cubicle next door that was getting showered, and I was gonna get my phone and like put it, you know, above the cubicle and like take a photo of them, or like record her, you know, record her in the shower. But that kind of thing's illegal. It's illegal, man. It's not worth getting a criminal record, you know what I mean? Fucking Carlos Baldemir, you know, Mayweather's opponent. He banged his underage daughter as well, didn't he? Like my uncle. And he got a few years in prison. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. R.I.P. Heavy D. That's what I mean. You know, people like jumping on that hype, you know, when Heavy D died. Like, most of those people have forgotten about it now, aren't they? Most of them don't give a fuck. All these fucking people who are like saying R.I.P. Heavy D, they don't care now. They've moved on. They moved on to R.I.P. DMX. You know what I mean? Now they've moved on to fucking Cesaro Parker. Then they'll move on next week to something else. They don't give a fuck. George Floyd. You remember when he got strangled? And people were posting like blacked out photos on their Instagram. They don't care anymore. They're not bothered. You know, racism's still going on in America, innit? But now they've moved on. They don't care anymore. They've lost interest. They don't care. They're just jumping on the hype, aren't they? Same with that R.I.P. Heavy D. And who really give a fuck about that? Kogan posted about it, didn't he? But I bet he didn't go to his funeral. I bet he didn't fucking... Kogan's not bothered. Kogan's glad Heavy D died, because Heavy D was putting it on Kogan. And Kogan posted out and said he didn't want that smoke, that Heavy D smoke. So Kogan's glad, isn't he? Yeah, shout out to North 2K7 for the £2. Billy Joe Saunders will expose Barry live after the fight. Yeah, I think so. You got fined 100 grand, you know, for getting a prostitute to slap an innocent man. That's a lot, isn't it? 100 grand. JJ Gallagher, who wins, Ramanathan or Eli Sekbat the Jew? I favour anybody against Kogan other than Prince Patel. I think anyone who fights Kogan will beat him other than Prince Patel. I don't rate Kogan at all. How long's this live been now? It's been about... Let's have a look. How long's the live been? Because you know what my plan was? To do it for 1 hour, yeah? And then when it gets to 1 hour, just end it and then do another one. You know, so I got 2 videos. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this shit up. I might do another live in a minute. But yeah... Thanks for watching, thanks for donating, thanks for subscribing and commenting and all that. But yeah, I might do another live in a minute. But yeah. Be safe, yeah? Be safe.